the Montreal Canadiens just can't seem to get it right now. There is a ton of questions coming out, criticizing Martin St. Louis, criticizing the team, and despite Brendan Gallagher's best efforts on the night, Jesse, Habs fans, well, they're really polarized right now by the results of the team. We have some calling for the firing of the coach, but we have a lot of others saying, just be patient. And there's a lot of stuff that we have to dive into in terms of this game and the future of the team. And I gotta say, I think we're on definitely one side more than the other, but we'll get into all that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. Plus, a note on a right-hand shot defenseman that is on waivers that has been linked to the Montreal Canadiens. So much stuff, Jesse, but we want to get straight into the video. There's no hesitation here today. To open the video, I didn't even know what I wanted to say. But I said what I said, and we're going to start with some good news, though. We're going to start with some good news, because this Habs team can be a bit anemic offensively, minus Brendan Gallagher as of late. But we got some great news today, as Patrik Laine was spotted skating on the ice. Jesse, I know how you feel about this. I know how I feel about this. I know how a lot of fans are feeling about the world's worst screenshots that you're seeing right now. But seeing this guy, after seeing how the lineups were switched so much in the third, and we'll get into that in a minute, this is such a nice sight to see.
Absolutely. And on the ice, a little bit slightly more ahead of schedule than what we kind of originally expected here. So this is absolutely phenomenal. There has been even words like, is Laine maybe going to get in, like to have enough time to maybe play in the Four Nations, like for Finland, right? So just to see him on the ice, maybe a little bit ahead of schedule is amazing, because we definitely need him with Montreal tonight. We know he's going to add so much excitement. He's going to add so much offense that this team really needs.
Yeah, I saw someone say, I saw a new fan, I think it was on Reddit, saying, hey, just curious on the Laine situation. What is it? Someone was like, basically Caufield if he was 6'5". And you know what? That comparison is not that crazy. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, Laine hasn't been healthy for a long time, but his injection into the lineup could be really nice. But Jesse, it's a lineup that in the game tonight, I don't know if I've seen more chaotic takes on this team right now than I have in a long time. With the expectations starting to rise, fans are getting a bit crazy. And we're just going to put the box score up on this. Before we get into our specific opinions, what did you think overall about this game? Because to me, I thought there were some highs. There were some definite lows early in the game. There was some line switching. There was chaos. But all in all, I don't know. It just felt like, once again, the team couldn't get it done. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, a couple quick goals, right? We're kind of getting ourselves into a little bit of hole that is very hard to kind of dig ourselves out of. Friends of the show will know, if we're starting to quote Anchorman, sometimes it's not always the best sign kind of right now, because there were some rough things about, this game today. Definitely one thing, Josh, that obviously kind of stood out, and a little bit of a trend there was, kind of like Anderson on that first goal, kind of overcommitting offensively to then just give so much space in the offensive zone. Doesn't that remind you, Josh, of that goal that they allowed to Jack Hughes? Again, that was Newhook that time, right? Where he just blows his coverage on that first goal. You're allowing so much space in the offensive zone to some of the prime players, for the opposition there. So definitely not the best recipe. There was a soft call on Guhle, again, leading to a hot power play for the Leafs. And it kind of gets away from you a little bit there. Again, Dach blowing a tire on that third goal. There's always key things where we're kind of obviously we weren't getting great calls from the ref here, but there was, again, those self-inflicted wounds, right? Where I'd rather just, kind of stay in front of your player. Don't overcommit so we can kind of blow past you. We got to be playing a little bit more of a safer defensive game. So sometimes that means not being so aggressive defensively.
To me, I think one word just keeps coming to mind when I watch this team, and it's discipline. Whether it's knowing when to not overcommit offensively, knowing when to stay away from a player, like that Emil Heineman interference that wiped out a Habs power play. It's just stay away for a second, And I know he's young. He's still learning. These things, that's the thing. These guys are so young. They're still learning. But right now, this is a very, very undisciplined team. Going back to last year, Xhekaj has seemed a bit more disciplined, at least. But overall, the team is just it feels like I don't know. I don't want to say they're not giving it their all every night, but it feels like sometimes you're watching stretches of the game where the other team just feels like they have all the energy, all the effort. And then today in the third period, when Montreal was switching up their lines, it did feel like they had some of that energy back. But look, Jesse, Marty St. Louis tried to do anything he could to spark this team, because clearly he saw what we were all seeing. A team that was just blowing coverage, making mistakes, fixable mistakes that were leading to goals. So these lines were destroyed in that third period. They ran Suzuki with Dach and Slafkovsky. They ran Newhook, Caufield, and Evans. They also ran Slafkovsky, Suzuki, and Dach. They did everything except put Caufield, Suzuki, and Slafkovsky back together. Look, there's a lot of fans. The amount of stuff that I saw on various social medias saying how, oh, Dominic Ducharme had a system, this kind of stuff. Insane to me. I just wanted to say, Jesse, we'll get into this in a stream sometime or a video sometime. But teams in year 3, the Habs were in the Stanley Cup final in 2021. Teams in year 3 of a rebuild are never good. They're always really bad. There's always this kind of thing like, uh-oh, that's not good. I understand, too, that there are definitely parts of the game that have seemed to regress since last year. That's not a great sign. But at the same time, like Brian Wild was saying on Twitter, I know I'm talking a lot here. I'm going to send it back to you in a second, but look at how bad Pittsburgh was before they got good. I know they had Crosby, whatever. Look at the Blackhawks. They were so bad. Yes, these teams drafted stars. The Leafs, in year 4 of their rebuild, had less than 70 points in a season. I'm just saying, Jesse, I think the calls from Marty's head, and in my opinion, and I could be very wrong, and I want to hear everyone debate with me, because honestly, everyone's opinion is just as valid as mine and yours. But I just think the freakouts are way too reactionary, and it's getting a little crazy.
The context of where we are at in the rebuild is key, right?
Yes.
Because if you're a contending team and then you're having a losing streak like this, though, we've seen head coaches be fired for absolutely a lot less. That being said, it's like in year 3 of a rebuild, the LA Kings, they went through a rebuild. They kind of went through it a little bit quicker, but, did they kind of complete their team? That's still out for debate there, right? So I know that the Montreal Canadiens, they want to really take the time to do it well. Again, the whole vision has always been on the future. So that's what makes it a little bit harder in the interim when we're really kind of going through it. So it's like, for sure, you have seen some teams be able to do it a little bit quicker sometimes and have a little bit of success. But generally speaking, rebuilds do take a little bit of time as well. That is really kind of par for the course. We see that year 4 is often that big indicator. We get that we kind of want to take those steps up, but again, there is just so much hockey left to be played this season. We see that even if the Montreal Canadiens, even though they seem so far away right now, guys, like if they were able to string a couple wins together, they would be getting right back in that proverbial mix kind of once again, right? Because it's like there's a kind of a cluster right now where it really doesn't take too much to really get back to the lineup. Obviously, the Montreal Canadiens are going to really kind of need to build and do one thing, one step at a time. But this is kind of like uncharted territory for the Montreal Canadiens a little bit. We've kind of had a consistent franchise for a good little minute, but we see kind of a little valleys right now. So I guess for a lot of Montreal Canadiens, they're just feeling a little bit upset because this isn't something that we've seen kind of all the time with this team. But of course, we're looking to kind of take those steps up. We've seen it. Hasn't always been rewarded in the victory column as well. But we definitely want to just continue building, keeping the rebuild in context. But you have to feel like, I think we're going to get into, like, Kent Hughes is on the phone. He's cooking to make something happen for this team as well.
Yeah, Kent
Someone
is
cooked here.
Cooking. I hope so. You saw him in that intro video. Kent wants something to go down. There's a lot of stuff that could go down. And, the Habs management and brass, they talked a lot about building a winning culture. And I'm going to be honest, from what I'm seeing right now, that just doesn't seem to be the case for Montreal. There are times where the effort is down, and it's hard to get motivated when you're losing these games. We'll see, right? We'll see what happens. I still have full faith in the rebuild, still full faith in Marty St. Louis for now. You got to let guys learn. It doesn't look great on the ice right now, but I'm just of the opinion to give them time. But I want to hear all your thoughts on this down below, because I think there's a lot of great discussion to be had. Be kind to each other, though. That's all I ask down below. Don't go at each other. Final thing, Jesse, though. I'm going to bring up this little clip of Kent first again. Those dead eyes, knowing that something is probably brewing. And I wonder if he's thinking about Dante Fabbro, because Dante Fabbro today, Jesse, was placed on waivers by the last place team in the NHL, Nashville Predators. Who would have thunk, honestly? But as Jay Fresh says here, Dante Fabbro was placed on waivers. He's a two-way puck-moving defenseman, not very physical or mobile, but he shoots the puck, likes one-timers, he's active in the defensive zone, good stick, retrieves loose pucks. He's seen his minutes decline the past few seasons, but overall, he's really solid. Decent even-strength defense and offense. Solid overall, 67% percentile in the projected WAR. He's making $2.5 million this one season. He's a UFA after this season, Jesse. And as Marco D'Amico highlights, the only team above Montreal that could claim him is San Jose. Obviously, Nashville's higher as well in the order, but they're the one who put him on waivers. So, but San Jose got Ceci, they got Liljegren, they got Ruta. So maybe if San Jose skips their turn, Montreal could buy some youngsters some time, mess with the pairings a bit, get a guy who's been in the NHL for, his 7th season this year. Yeah, his minutes have been declining for a good Nashville team, but Jesse, this to me seems like that kind of guy. You bring in just a solid right-hand defenseman who can probably eat you 17, 18 minutes a night, switch up the pairings, he brings a different dynamic to the team, he sends a message like, you know what, you guys aren't cutting it, we're bringing in an outside source. 2.5 million is tough to take on, but Montreal has the space. What do you think about Montreal taking a swing for Dante Fabbro, despite the fact that Elliot Friedman said that some executives don't think he's going to get claimed?
I think that there's a good chance that the Montreal Canadiens do this. I am in support of it. And the fact is that this is creating huge buzz. Like, apparently this tweet is just getting views, right? Like, ever since this kind of came out, this news, which shows there is interest kind of in this player as well, right? I think just playing a little bit of that defensive game. He's not the biggest guy in the world either, but I think just kind of providing that veteran sort of presence for us, I think is just a big thing right now on this team. So I'm definitely in favor of it. You know, the Nashville Predators are the one story, I think, in the NHL right now that has Montreal Canadiens fans. It's making us feel better, right? Because it's not a season like where we went out for those free agents, really making those long-term deals, right? Only to still be at the bottom of the standings. So that's, you know, there's kind of a big difference there. But I don't know. I feel like this is definitely an interesting player for the Habs for this time being as a stopgap.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, too, like, he's been made available for trade, but teams don't like that $2.5 million number. And, you know, if you're Montreal, you're not trading something for a guy like this. But if he's free, I mean, yeah, you got to pay the $2.5 million, but, like, if you had the cap space to do it, which Montreal does, one of the few teams in the league that could take him on and immediately give him a role to see him shine. Like, again, he's been a consistent NHLer for many years. 24 points is his career high, but, like, you know, that's all right if he's playing second pairing, you know, third pairing. So, I don't know. It makes a lot of sense to us, but I want to hear your thoughts down below. We will let you know tomorrow in tomorrow's video what happens on that front, whether Montreal claims him or not, alongside some other stuff. But for now, something needs to be done, Jesse, and I think a lot of the fans are feeling the same way, but we'd love to hear all your thoughts down below, because that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe like you always do. We really appreciate all the support. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.